Auspicious greetings, everyone. Welcome back to our Dharma with Dreaming Nagasena Bhikshu Sutra. Today is our class 7, and in last class, class 6, we discussed about who is Shramanas and what is their goal, their objective of becoming a Shramanas. Shramanas means the practitioner, the Bhikshu or Bhikshuni. And also last class, we talked about the feeling. So regarding about the Bhikshu and Bhikshuni, why they decided to become a Bhikshu and Bhikshuni, besides last class, actually previously, we also discussed about that. The objective is to stop suffering, eradicate the suffering, the craving, the attachment in us in order to achieve to the stage of nirvana or the peace in mind. So we also, in the last class, there's also talk about the supernatural power of a Shramanas. And next, we talks about the feeling. So in the past 6 class, actually, we discussed a lot about the external factors, the 6 external factors interact with our 6 sense organs, and then together with the 6 consciousness in order to raise up the different types of feeling, emotional reaction. So if we are a person have a lot of desire, and when we interact, our 6 sense organs interact with any objects that we have this interests or attachments to, it will come to the consciousness. And if we don't cultivate, don't practice as according to the teachings from the Buddha, the desire in us, the attachment in us will accumulate and keep on accumulate, and this will bring to the next life. However, if we understand about what caused us to have this feeling, and we make a decision whether we want to accumulate it, stop it here, or reduce it, it all depends on our own decision through our wisdom. So again, I emphasize that we are the master of ourselves. We can make decisions in ourselves. We can't change the external factors. We can't force people to change. We can't force the weather to change, but we can change how we see things, how we respond to things, and how we make a decision in certain things that will impact on us in our life. And sometimes it impacts on us, and it will also impact on other people too. And today's class, we are going to explore the Buddha. And for those members that have been learning the Dharma and also have the chance to read the books of the Buddha, you know that the Buddha is a historical person. He really exists in this world, exists like a human like us. He has to experience what we have experienced. He experienced the old age, sickness, and death. He experienced the departure with the loved one, like his parents, his disciple. He has experienced sickness. He has a very bad stomach. He always have diarrhea and backache. He has headache as well. So sickness is something, a reality. And even the Buddha, he has to face it. So Buddha has to face what we face, but why he achieved, become a Buddha and experience the peace, and why we still have so many defilements, so much defilements in us, and we always live in a life of unease, fear, uncomfortable. So what is the difference between the Buddha and us? So in this class, let's discuss about who is Buddha and what are perhaps the difference between the Buddha and us, whereby King Minanda asked the question and Nagasena Bhikshu answer the question. But there's one thing I need to emphasize here is that please remember that Nagasena Bhikshu at that time, he has his own background, social background, his educational background, his life background. So the answer he gave it to the king might not be the answer that you are expected. Might not be. So this is something that when we study a sutra or a sastra, why do we need to know at least the background of this sastra or sutra? It's because it has when it compile, or even the response from this person, we need to consider their cultural background, the educational background, the society background. This is something very important before we start to look into their conversation. Okay, so the existence of the Buddha. King Minanda asks, have you, Venerable Sir, seen the Buddha? Nagasena says that, no, sir, I have not seen the Buddha. Same as us, we never have a chance to see the Buddha. And Minanda said that, then have your teacher seen the Buddha? And Nagasena says that, no, sir, my teacher has also not seen the Buddha. And Minanda says that since you and your teacher all have not seen the Buddha, then there's certainly no Buddha. And Nagasena said that, but great king, have you seen the place where the 500 waters comes joining together? Minanda said, no, I have not seen it. Then have your father and grandfather seen the water? Minanda said, no, none of them have seen it. Nagasena says that, then since you, your father and grandfather all have not seen the place where the 500 waters comes joining together, there is certainly no such a place in the world where 500 waters comes joining together. Minanda says that though my father, grandfather, and I have not seen such water, there are definitely such waters. Nagasena said that in the same way, though my teacher and I have not seen the Buddha, definitely the Buddha exists. So from here, the Nagasena did not say that, yes, definitely there's a Buddha that somebody saw before. But he used an example and said that there are a lot of things that we might not see, but actually really exist. So this is something that he answered to the king. The same thing that in our interaction with some of the members, somebody might ask you is that, have you ever seen the Buddha? Are you sure that there's such a person called Buddha? We can't say that we really see the Buddha. But there are so many things that exist, but we never see it before. So how can we say that there's no such things or person? Okay, the next question. Minanda, about the incomparable of the Buddha. Minanda asks, is the Buddha incomparable? Nagasena says that, yes, the Buddha is incomparable. Cannot be compared. The Buddha can be compared? And Nagasena says that, oh no, the Buddha cannot be compared. And Minanda said that, but how do you know that the Buddha is incomparable? And Nagasena says that, now what do you think? Oh, great king. What those who have never seen the great ocean knows that the ocean is great. There are 5 great rivers, and to each of them, there are also 500 small tributaries. The 5 great rivers are the Hang, the Xingtao, the Sitao, the Pocha, and the Shipi. So these are their 5 great rivers, their names at that time. The water of these 5 great rivers flow to the ocean days and night. But the water in the ocean neither increase nor decrease. So Nagasena asks, oh, great king, do you know about it? Minanda said that, certainly I know. And Nagasena said that, because those who have attained enlightenment have spoken of the incomparable of the Buddha, so I believe it. So in here is that, can the Buddha be compared with others? And of course, as a Buddhist believer, have faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, they will say that this cannot be compared. But how do we know? How do we know that we cannot be compared? And the answer from Nagasena is that there are monastic that enlightened during that time, and they share through their enlightenment that the Buddha is something that cannot be compared. And this is something that is quite challenging. You know why? Because people might ask is that, how about God? How about the Muhammad? Can we compare the Buddha with the God? And this is something that is arguable. Again, remember, we talk about faith. We talk about faith. If you believe that God is the most superior one, the omnipotence, then of course he is incomparable. If we believe that the Brahman is the most superior one, omnipotence, of course, it cannot be compared. Same as Muhammad. So our belief will determine, whether these external factors is most superior or not. So when people ask me these questions, most of the time I don't quite like to continue or debate or argue on it, because it's about faith. It's about what you believe. What you believe. Our belief will really determine on a lot of things. A lot of things. So when a person believes that killing is good, then he has to bear the consequences of killing others, if he thinks it's good. So in Buddhism, is what we do, what we bear the consequences. If we believe that Buddha is a teacher that able to lead us to a better life, a more peaceful life, a more peaceful rebirth in next life, we follow his guiding of cultivation, then the Buddha is incomparable. So for those people that study PhD, they will look for their advisor. They will start to look for a advisor whereby this person is able to learn from this advisor. With great retribution, with great knowledge, and most important, willing to guide these persons to write a dissertation, to gain knowledge, to advance himself. So if this person look for this advisor, and this person is say that this is the advisor that is able to guide me in my study, then this advisor is incomparable. So that's the key thing. The key thing is, how do we look at the things? So in here, to Nagasena, Buddha is incomparable because the Buddha able to guide him to eradicate craving, desire, attachment, and achieve nirvana. And of course, it becomes incomparable. And why do Nagasena have this belief? Because he learned this from, or he know this from the enlightened Bhikshu. You know that this Bhikshu enlightened. You know that this Bhikshu already experienced all the practice and reached to a certain level of enlightenment, and share this with him. And that's why he believed in it. Okay. On how to know the Buddha incomparable. Again, we continue. Minanda said that, how do you know, Venerable Nagasena, that the Buddha is incomparable? Nagasena asked the king, who is the master in writing books? Minanda says that the master who wrote book is called Zi. Of course, there's another name in Sanskrit. And Nagasena says that, have you, O king, ever seen the master Zi? Minanda says that Zi died long, long ago. I have never seen him. And Nagasena says that, O king, you have never seen Zi. Then how do you know that Zi is the master in writing books? And Minanda said that because the ancient books and writings are handed down to us, by that I know he is Zi. So we chant or we read the sutra. And this sutra has been passing down for thousands years, even though it has different version, but it has been passed down from the ancient monastic. And these monastic are able to write out the sutra, or even to copy down the sutra, are those monastics that are really in the path of cultivation. So when we chant the sutra, we know that it's not written by a modern person. We know that the writer or the persons that compile this sutra basically is the persons that exist more than 100 years or 1,000 years. And this person has been a practitioner for a long time. So this becomes something, a proof to us that this is something that believed by a wise person. That's why we, in a way, we trust it. So the same thing for us that write dissertation. Dissertation, when we write dissertation, when we need to look for all kinds of materials written by people from the past, by great scholar. Why do we trust this great scholar? Because they have gone through the training of research. They read through a lot of books. They know, they have a lot of knowledge. And that's why they're able to compile or write the dissertation. They're able to write the books or even compile a dictionary or encyclopedia based on their knowledge and experience. And that's why we quote them, because we, in a way, we trust them. In a way, we trust them. So Nagasena says that in the same way, he who sees the scriptures and discipline sees the Buddha. The scriptures and the path preached by the Buddha are very profound and will lead to happiness. Those who have not learned the Buddha's scriptures and disciplines in turn teach others. Therefore, I know that the Buddha is incomparable from the scriptures, from the Sutra, the commentaries, and from those that compile these scriptures that gone through the discipline. They have the precepts to follow. They believe in karma. They cultivate. And that's why Nagasena believe in them. Then he know that these people are well-known people, monastic. And King Minanda continued to ask, have you seen for yourself the Buddha's teachings which should be practiced for a long time? So have you seen by yourself the Buddha's teachings? These teachings has been exist for, during that time is hundreds of years, but in our time is thousands of years. So have you seen yourself the Buddha's teaching? King Minanda asked Nagasena. And Nagasena replied, the teachings and the discipline explained by the Buddha are so excellent that I should practice it up to my old age. Nagasena did not say that, okay, I should practice it. I have seen it. No. Nagasena says that the teachings and the discipline, the precepts that explained, taught by the Buddha, so excellent. I truly, Nagasena says that from the bottom of my heart, I truly should practice it up to my old age. This shows that Nagasena has great and unshakable faith in the Buddha's teaching and also the precepts, the discipline. And this is called a faith. A faith is that you don't just blindly believe. You learn from those that have already achieved. You see by your eyes. You experience it by yourself. You think about it. You contemplate about it. So it has been examined through different ways to show that this is something that I, myself, have complete faith in what I believe in. So this is faith. And this is what in here, Nagasena is trying to tell the king is that even though I never see the Buddha, even though I never hear the Buddha's teachings, but through the scriptures that pass down for hundreds of years, thousands of years, from those monastics that compile the scriptures, from those monastics that practice as according to the scriptures. That's why he has the faith. That's why he will follow these teachings to his old age. And this is about whether we ourselves, now we need to examine ourselves, is that, do we have this faith in ourselves to believe what the Buddha says, that all of us have Buddha's nature? We are able to eradicate suffering. We are able to enter into nirvana. We are able to lead a more peaceful, less suffering life. Do we have this faith in the Buddha and ourselves? This is something that we always have to ask ourselves, the faith. And I need to emphasize here is that the Buddha never says that if you believe in me, you won't be experiencing old age, sickness, and death. The Buddha never says so. And yet the Buddha says that this is the truth of our life. All of us will have to experience it. But how do we experience it mentally? That's the difference between whether we believe in the Dharma or we don't believe in the Dharma. If we believe in the Dharma, even though we are experiencing all this challenge in life, our mind are able to reduce the uncomfortable feeling, reduce the suffering, and cultivate the peace of mind, even though we are experiencing all this suffering. So this faith plays a very important role. If we just learn the Dharma and not applying it in our life, means that we don't have faith in it. It's just a knowledge. We just chant the book, read the book. Suffering, still suffering. Craving, still craving. Desire, still desire. But if we apply it in our life, and this, in order to apply it in our life, we need to believe. We need to believe. If we don't believe, how do we apply it in our life? So let's say that, give an example. Let's say that suddenly we heard a news from a doctor say that we got a cancer. Cancer is a sickness. It's the truth. The only thing is that this term cancer, a little bit get freaked out when they hear that, oh, I have a cancer. But if we look deeper, it's a sickness. It's a sickness might bring us to death. And this death is also a truth, right? So even if we have fear, we get so sad, so frustrating, we still have to face it. Then why don't we adjust and think in another way? As what the Buddha taught us is that that's the reality. Let's face it, still continue our life. But now I need to cherish every moment, every second of my life to be happy. Whether we're happy or not happy, we still have to get sick and die. That's the reality. We can close our eyes, we can walk away from it, but we still have to face it. It will come, whether we like it or not. So faith, very important. Okay, now the next question. The Buddha's whereabouts after parinirvana? There are people ask where the Buddha goes to. King Minanda asks, is there nirvana? Which he asked it a few times already. And Nagasena says that, yes, there is nirvana. And King Minanda says that, can you, Nagasena, point out where the Buddha is? Because he already entered into nirvana, parinirvana. And Nagasena says that, no, I cannot point out where the Buddha is, since the Buddha has already attained parinirvana. It is impossible to show where the Buddha is. Then Nagasena give a example. Suppose a man has light a fire. When the fire has been extinguished, can anyone point out where the fire has gone? King Minanda say, no one can. Nagasena says, the Buddha has attained parinirvana, and it cannot be point where the Buddha has gone. In the Chinese term, one of the name of the Buddha is Ru Lai, Tathagata. Tathagata means that where he wants to come, where he wants to go, is as according to his own wish. All of us being where we rebirth, we are being pulled by our karma, our habit. This energy, this habit of attachment, of love, this karma, bad karma, good karma, wholesome karma, pull us to rebirth. The attachment, the mind of attachment, pull us to rebirth. But as a Buddha, a Tathagata, he has already let go of craving, attachment, let go of the karma. So wherever he wants to go, he can go. Even he wants to be reborn again, he still can be reborn again. But it's not because of karma that lead these persons to reborn. It's because of his or her own will. It's just like Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Guan Yin Pusa. He or she was an ancient Buddha. It has been achieved Buddhahood already. But one day, he or she, this Buddha, realized that there are a lot of people suffering in this samsara world. So this Buddha makes a vow. I want to save all these suffering beings. And in order to save all these suffering beings, need to be reborn to this samsara world, right? So that's why the Buddha, the ancient Buddha, choose to be reborn to this samsara world in order to help people. And in having this mind of helping people means compassion. And this is the key power or energy of a Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, to become a Bodhisattva, must have the mind of compassion. And this compassion must have the wisdom of impermanence and non-self. This is something, another big topic. But what I'm saying is that when Buddha parinirvana, he can be whatever he wants to. Nobody know where he go, what he was, or are, or is. He can be whatever he wants to. That is called carefree. When a person is carefree, this person actually can go anywhere with a very mindful body, speech, and mind. Know what he's doing. Know about the cause and effect. Knows about the cause and condition. Knows very clearly. That is the Buddha. Well aware, 100% aware. So we won't be able to say that, oh, the Buddha went to this land or that land. No, the Buddha was not restricted by anything. Okay, next topic. The 32 marks of the Buddha. Okay. King Minanda asks, is it true that the Buddha was endowed with the 32 bodily marks and graced with the 80 subsidiary characteristic? Was his body golden in color with a glorious halo? Nagasena replies, yes, it is true that the Buddha was endowed with the 32 bodily marks and graced with 80 subsidiary characteristic. His body was golden in color with a glorious halo. And King Minanda asks, but were his parents also endowed with the 32 bodily marks and the 80 subsidiary characteristic? Were their bodies golden in color with the glorious halo? And Nagasena says that no, the parents of the Buddha had not such characteristic. If the parents of the Buddha had no such characteristic, and the Buddha had also no such characteristic, that the Buddha has also no such characteristic. The king continued, people give birth to children who have similar features to their parents. If the parents of the Buddha have no such characteristic, the Buddha surely had no such characteristic. Nagasena says that although the parents of the Buddha had not the 32 bodily marks and the 80 subsidiary characteristic with the golden color and the glorious halo, yet the Buddha surely had such characteristic. And Nagasena asks, so now Nagasena asked the king, have you, O king, seen the lotus flower? Minanda said, yes, I have seen. The lotus flower is born on the earth, growing up in mud and water. It is beautiful and fragrance. But does the lotus flowers resemble the mud and the water of the lake, either in color or in smell? King Minanda says that no, it does not resemble the earth, the mud, and the water of the lake, either in color or in smell. Although the parents of the Buddha had no such characteristic, the Buddha had all such marks and characteristics. The Buddha was born in the earth, in the world, grown up in the world, but not similar to the worldly beings. So in here, this is something that people might have question in, and I will not like to explore further, because regarding about this 32 marks and 80 subsidiary characteristic, in a way, at that period of time, if we know about the history of Indian Buddhism, when the Buddha passed away, when there's a splitting of the Sangha order, it start to have Abhidhamma, and then it start to have the Mahayana and start to flourish. The figure of the Buddha actually start to become very complicated. It's no more like a human being like us. So the disciples, they start to they start to create certain symbol trying to represent the Buddha. So they have the hands gesture, the body gesture, the eyes, the legs, all kinds of things, to try to show their respects to the Buddha, saying that Buddha is special from other people. So this is something that at that time they have this teachings, and even have the research trying to analyze the Buddha physical body. It's a symbol of showing that their respects to the Buddha. Showing their respects to the Buddha. Okay, next. The Buddha's teacher. King Minanda asked, did the Buddhas learn, know, and practice the Dharma and the precepts? Nagasena says that the Buddha did learn, know, and practice the Dharma and the precepts. And Minanda asks that then from what teacher did the Buddha receive the Dharma and precepts? Nagasena says that the Buddha has no teacher. When the Buddha attained enlightenment, he knew by himself the Dharma, the path, unlike the disciple who had to learn and know the teachings from the Buddha. They needed to practice it till old age. And why the answer says so? Because in that life is the last life of this so-called the Buddha to achieve the Buddhahood. So his learning was by the past lives. And in that life, even though he did learn from two ascetics about how to achieve the cessation of suffering or stop the old ageness and death, but the Buddha realized that this is not the ultimate. So his enlightenment is basically on his own experience from the past lives and this life. His understanding of the Dharma in this world, the path of cultivation, means the practice and cultivation, and ultimately the achievement of nirvana is all by his own reflection. So in order to, of course, most people have to learn from the teacher to understand and then practice. But to the Buddha, in the last life, he has to really rely on himself. The same things for us. The same thing for us. In order to really pass the exam, we are the one that sit there and write it out. Nobody can help us. And where do we get this knowledge from? From the past learning. But past learning. So Buddhas in that life, he did have two teachers that guide him in meditation, but it did not help him to achieve enlightenment. It was his own cultivations from the past. So why do we need to keep on cultivating? Don't think that, okay, how come I did not achieve anything this life? Or how come somebody able to know a lot of things in this life just listening to the Dharma? A lot is from the past lives, not from this lives. The Buddha's omniscience. King Minanda, does the Buddha know the things in the past, present, and future? Nagasena said that yes, the Buddha knows all. King Minanda, if the Buddha knows everything, then why does he not teach all he knows to his disciple? Why does he teach them little by little? Nagasena asks the king, are there physicians in the country? Means doctor in the country. And the king says that yes, there are. Nagasena says that, do they know all the medicines in the world? King Minanda says, yes, they all know the medicines in the world. Nagasena says, but when they treat a patient, do they give them the medicine all at once or little by little? King Minanda says that if a patient is not sick, the physician cannot give him the medicine in advance. It is only when there is sickness, then the physicians give him the appropriate medicine. Nagasena says, although the Buddha knows things in the past, present, and future, he cannot teach all that he knows to the people in the world. So he taught his disciple the Dharma and the Vinaya little by little and asked them to follow and practice accordingly. So in here is that even the Buddha knows a lot of things. But he also knows one thing is what? Observe the condition. If the disciple is not in the conditions to know so many things, then what's the point of teaching the disciple so many things? The disciple unable to digest. Unable to digest. So it's not the Buddha doesn't want to teach. It's because the condition is not there. So the Buddha will only teach as according to the condition, whereby either the disciple asks him, or in that condition, he thinks that it's time for this person to know certain thing, and this person is ready to know certain thing. So there was a story, to share a story with you. There was this old lady. In her past life, she has been doing a lot of good things, cultivating a lot of good merits, and also he listens to the teachings from the ancient Buddha. So in this life, the Buddha, like Shakyamuni Buddha, through his meditation, he realized that this lady is in this town. She has been cultivating a lot of merits already. And also she listens to a lot of Dharma. We just needs to explain certain Dharma to her, and she will be able to get a certain stage of enlightenment. So the Buddha decided to approach to the lady, the old lady. However, it's strange. When the Buddha walked to the east, the lady will turn around and go to the west. When the Buddha walked to the west, the lady will turn around and go to the north. So no matter where the Buddha goes, the lady will just turn around. And the Buddha started to observe through his meditation, and he realized that he does not have a good interaction with this old lady before. So it's not his conditions to guide the old lady to achieve to a certain level of enlightenment. And the Buddha started to observe again and realized that it's Ananda, one of his disciples, have good relationship with this old lady in the past life. So the Buddha said to Ananda and said that, you know what? There's a lady over there. You just share with her some Dharma. She's able to achieve it in a certain stage of enlightenment. And the disciple Ananda says that, oh, great Buddha, you are the greatest one. You are the great teacher. How come you don't go and ask me to go? The old lady will learn more from you and maybe even achieve more from you rather than me. And the Buddha says that, well, because I do not have a close interaction with this old lady before. So the cause and condition is not there. But you have. You are able to help her. You are able to help her. So if you go to her, she will achieve. If I go to her, even I want to guide her, I don't think that she's ready to listen to me. So this is the amazing things about the Buddha. The Buddha never says that I am the only one can teach the Dharma. You can't, you can't, you can't. The Buddha observe the conditions. The Buddha, he will look into the condition and see what is the best to guide us to live a better life. And that's why even he teach the Dharma, he teach in different ways. Even though the question is the same, but his explanation will be different. It's not because he changed his mind, because he observed the conditions and apply as according to the needs of that person. And that's why the Buddha, one of his name is the great doctor, physician, the great physician. The power of single mindfulness of the Buddha. King Minanda asks, your monk says that if anyone who does evil deeds in the world for 100 years, at the time of dying, he will be reborn in the heaven after death if he have even one thought of the Buddha. These words I cannot believe. Again, they say, he who should take the life of a living being would fall into the hell of Niraya. These words I cannot believe either. And Nagasena asks, suppose a man were to put a small stone into water, would the small stone float on the surface of the water or sink into the water? And King Minanda says that the small stone would sink. Nagasena say, if 100 large stones were put into a boat, would the boat stone sink? And the King Minanda say, no, they would not sink. Nagasena says that as 100 large stones in a boat would not sink, a man with a thought of the Buddha will not fall into the hell of Niraya, but be born in the heaven even though he had done evil deeds in the past. The small stone that sink is like people who do evil, but do not know the Dharma of the Buddha. When he dies, he will fall into the hell of Niraya. Okay, in here, I need to explain. Again, it's quite confusing. Some people do ask me this question too, say that if a person did a lot of bad things, and he just chant the Buddha name, means that he won't go to the hell? But in the sutra, it says that if a person did a lot of evil things, with the chanting of the Buddha's name, this person are able to go to the heaven. Are you sure? The first thing is that the chanting of the Buddha's name, this person has to have a complete faith in the Buddha. Cannot have even 0.001 doubt. Completely focus on the Buddha. Completely focus. Then this person might. But doesn't mean that all the evil deeds that he did in the past life will no more. So if let's say this person have the faith in the Buddha, but suddenly one thought comes out, sure, the Buddha will help me? Or one thought of fear comes out that, will I, because of one of the evil deeds, I will have to bear the consequences. Even one small little thoughts comes out, then this person has to bear the has to receive the consequences. So I give an example in one of our chanting, one of the chanting ceremony, the compassionate chanting service. One of the compassionate chanting service is that one of this monk has been monk for many lives. Very diligent, very faithful, a very pure monastic. And then in one life, very intelligent, with a lot of wisdom and well-known monastic. And so one day the king gave him a purple robe. Purple robe. And this monk has been practicing in a pure mind diligently. And when receiving this purple robe, suddenly there's a thought arising. This thought says that, you see, how amazing. Even the king recognized me. And from that day onward, he start to have sickness. Start to have a sickness. The skin start to rotten. And when it start to rotten, a face appear. And the face even able to eat things. So this monk suffer in pain but don't dare to tell people. Because he's a great monk. How can he has this sort of sickness with even a face, eyes and nose and mouth, and eat things? So later on, how? Communicate. This face start to talk and say that, you know what, I've been following you, but I can't get close to you because you have been practicing diligently and believe in the Buddha. I can't get close to you. But because of one of your evil thoughts, finally, I'm able to enter into your body. Even thoughts. So remember I mentioned about faith. If a person practice diligently in a pure mind, in a way, this pureness will block away a lot of things, but doesn't mean that the karma that we did will completely no more there. We have to do a lot of transferring of merits to all this karma in order to let them to let go. This is another topic which I'm not going to talk about because it's a big topic too. So the same thing in here is that if a person did evil things but have completely pure, not a single small little subtle thoughts, just have faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. This person able to block, and this person needs to do a lot of chanting to transfer the merits to the bad karma that he did in the past. But if a person do not believe in the karma, the teachings from the Buddha, even a small stone, evil stone, these persons will fall into the hell. Again, this is whether you believe or not. Okay, here, the indefinity of the Buddha's knowledge. King Minanda, what was done by the Buddha that is difficult to do? What are the things that the Buddha knew that are subtle? Nagasena says that the Buddha says that he knew and would explain what is inside the body of the man, which cannot be seen by human's eyes. He understood things concern the eyes, things concerns the ears, things concerns the nose, mouth, body, destruction, doubts, things concerns the mind, and things concerning the spirit. The Buddha knew about this. And Nagasena says that suppose a man who were to take some water from the ocean into his mouth, would he know that such portion of it is the water from such a spring? Such portion is the water from such a stream? Such portion is the water from such a river? King Minanda says that all the water have mingled into one. It is very difficult to distinguish them. And Nagasena says that what the Buddha has done is very difficult. He knew the taste of different waters. Now of the ocean water, which is before the eyes, the king still could not know. How much less is what is comes to the spirit which cannot be seen and the 6 things which are inside the body. This is why the Buddha understood all things from the matter of mind to what is seen by the eyes, heard by the ears, smelled by the nose, tasted by the mouth, and felt by the body, pleasant, unpleasant, cold, hot, coarse, smooth. From the mind to physical factors to everything that is alike, the Buddha knows and analyzes them all. The knowledge of the Buddha is beyond our circular knowledge. He's looking into our internal self. The external factors to the internal self. So in this chapter, it talks about the Buddha. It comes back is that whether we have faith in this person that able to guide us to live a better life in this life, to guide us able to cultivate and accumulate merits or preparation for the next life. And also, most important is that when the time that we are going to say goodbye to this earth, whether we are able to apply what we learn from the Dharma when our last breath come out from our nose and mouth. So again, in some of the answer from Nagasena to King Minanda, you might not fully agree, but that's how he answered to him based on the situation at that time. As the topic about whether a person did evil deeds, chanting just the name of the Buddha will be able to go to the heaven. This topic is a very critical topic because it needs a lot, really apply a pure, complete faith in order to achieve that. The same thing like going to the Pure Land. It's not just chanting the Amitabha's name, then you can go to the Pure Land. It's more than that. Okay, so I will end the class for today. And next week will be the last class, class 8. And I will do a summary of the first 7 class. And I will pick up the key teachings from this Nagasena Bhikshu Sutra. So thank you very much. And I will see you next time. Amitofo.